setting new standards in podcast excellence. You have joined the WBT, fully focused on business and taxes. Here is your host, Michael Lodge.
And welcome to the WBT. This is Michael Lodge. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for sitting down. You got your cup of coffee. Let's have it. Put a little creamer in there. Or maybe a little sugar. But let's get to chatting, okay? I want to tell you, I had the best lunch today. The best lunch that I have had in a very long time. It wasn't about the food. It was not about the ambiance. It wasn't about the service. What it was all about was, all of a sudden, over the loudspeaker, they said, once a day, we stand up and we say the Pledge of Allegiance. And we invite everybody to stand up. And we all stood up. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And we said it with the Star Spangled Banner playing in the background. We all had our right hands on our over our heart, and we said the Pledge of Allegiance as we were having our lunch. We took the time from eating, we stood up, and we were patriotic. We were Americans one more time, one more day, one more moment. I don't know if you remember when you were a kid. When I was a kid, I'm going to age myself here. When I was a kid, I went to a one-room school in Seattle, Washington. A one-room school in Seattle, Washington. We had 15 kids. We had grades 1 through 5, and our teacher's name was Mrs. Redberg. And every single morning we would get up and we would stand beside our desk, place our right hand over our heart, and we would pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We stood there in that restaurant and we said that. It was the most amazing experience that I have had in so long, because I had gone to that point where I thought this nation is no longer patriotic. There isn't anybody out there that loves this country. You see the violence on the streets. You see the Democrats in Congress trying to put down the Attorney General, trying to put down the President, trying to put down the police, trying to put down the military. Everything that they do is negative, negative, negative. And you see Antifa, you see Black Lives Matter out there destroying the communities in which you and I live. I had begun to see and hear all of this anti-American stuff. I really began to wonder, is there anybody in this nation that is patriotic to this nation, to this country? I stood there, very proud. I was very proud because once again I could be an American and put my hand over my heart and make that pledge to this nation. It's amazing to me what has happened to this nation. And by the way, I want to tell you, the restaurant that I was at is a restaurant in downtown West Palm Beach called Bradley's. Remember that restaurant? If you're ever in West Palm Beach, I want you to go there. It has a beautiful view over the waterfront. You can see the yachts. You can see the beautiful houses, mansions over on the other side. Palm trees are blowing in the breeze. You can sit outside if you want. Even if it's warm, it's still good just to be there. But for 1 minute of today, I stood up and I was an American one more time. One more moment. 1 more minute, I was an American. And everyone else that was in that restaurant was an American too, because they all stood up, all placed their hands all over their heart. And when they were done, we clapped. And we clapped like hell and we yelled. I had come to the point in my life, seeing all of this negativeness, and I was wondering, am I the only one here that loves this nation anymore? What has happened to the Americans that I once knew? The people that we used to go out on 4th of July and sit there in our picnic baskets, in our Cokes, in our Pepsis, in our fried chicken, I almost went southern there. I almost went fried chicken, but no, it was fried chicken. And I remember we would sit there and we'd watch the hydroplane races go around and round Lake Washington. And it was a big deal because it was Seafair time. It was when we had parades and we had all kinds of different things going on. Seattle used to be the most patriotic city ever. I grew up there, and I remember having Seafair and I remember marching in a parade in downtown Seattle. I was in the drill team, and we had the flag, and right behind us we had a trailer that had Marines on it, Army people on it that had just returned from Vietnam, still in their fatigues. And I remember Seattle being this great community. Churches were churches, and you would go there and you'd worship. Nothing was political back then. It did not become political in Seattle until they nominated or they elected a governor, a female governor, first female governor of that state. Her name was Dixie Lee Ray, a far-left governor and a nuclear engineer. That's when it went from conservative to liberal, and it's gone downhill ever since. Now that was back in the 1970s. But today was a good lunch. Yeah, I had key lime pie, but I don't really remember what it tastes like because I was still thinking about standing up and saying the Pledge of Allegiance. My friends out there, if you're listening to me, this is a great nation. This is a nation full of love. This is a nation that takes care of its communities and its families. We're the first ones to jump up if a nation is being destroyed by an earthquake or a tornado or a hurricane or mudslides or volcanoes. We are the first ones to send help. And we are at the point now where we are asking Congress to help. We're asking them to support the police and support the rule of law of this nation. And they refuse to do it. Instead, what they do is they stand behind organizations like Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and other groups who have gone through neighborhoods and attacked fellow Americans, torn down buildings, burnt down buildings, stolen goods out of stores, killed people. And the Democrats in Congress sit there and they support this. They say it's peaceful demonstrations as we see Portland and Seattle burning. This is all about leadership. This is all about political agendas of those leaders. Because they are not there to help and protect the citizens of Seattle, Portland, or Chicago, or any of those other democratic cities. They're not there for that. They're there to push a political agenda of liberalism, of communism, of anti-Americanism. I'm telling you today, this is not about black lives. This is about politicians pushing a very corrupt and dangerous political agenda. But today, at lunchtime, I became an American again. stood up and said my Pledge of Allegiance. I clapped my hands. I hollered with the rest of the people that were there. Gosh, it's good to be an American. I'm sad for my country at the moment because we have individuals who are trying to destroy it. But I tell you what, I'm dedicated to this nation. And I hope that each and every single one of you out there listening to my voice are dedicated to this great country of ours, where we have the liberties, where we have freedom, where we have democracy, where we have a constitution that protects us. We have a great military. We have great cities that can be great again if leaders will just rise up against evil and protect the American people and create a better environment for everyone. Evil is this destruction against fellow Americans. I've never seen this in my life before, where other Americans hate other Americans. Will they fight them in the streets? Will they clobber them over the head? Will they try to shut up their speech? I've never seen this before. But today I am a good American. I said my Pledge of Allegiance. And I mean it. Everybody, go out and have a great day. Sit down if you have kids, sit down and tell them about the Pledge of Allegiance. Tell them about the story of how the Star-Spangled Banner was written. As a writer was sitting and seeing a nation being bombarded and bombs going off and people being shot and killed, he wrote that as we were gaining our independence of this nation against the British, against a foreign occupied country. And we have fought for that independence every single day of our life. Every single day, police officers go out and put their lives on the line. Our military goes off and protects this nation from evil enemies out there. The justice system provides a court system where people can get heard. It needs some work. It needs some adjustment. But it's been working ever since the beginning of this country. Our country is the only country that is so independent but yet works united. Right now we're not seeing that from the Democrats in Congress or in the governor's chair or in the mayor's offices, councilmen. We're not seeing that at the moment. But it will change, and I know that it will change because, as I've said so many times, our vote matters, our lives matter, and our nation matters. We are Americans. And if we're fighting against each other, then there's something wrong with us. If you are attacking fellow Americans, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with your attitude towards fellow Americans. If you're tearing down buildings or burning down buildings and you think it is okay, then you have a problem. If you in Congress support more violence and you support Antifa and you support Black Lives Matter and you support socialism and you support all these things that are not American, then you have a problem. You have forgotten what Americans are and who you are representing because you have solely focused on a political agenda. And when you put political agenda ahead of the people, that is right on the line of being a communist. And you may have already crossed that line. If you are an American, you fight for other Americans. If you are an American, you try to build other Americans up. If you're an American, racism isn't even part of your language. It's the practice that you put in to make this country a non-racist country. And we all work at it every single day. If you're an American, if you don't have anything good to say about this country, maybe it's time for you to start looking for a country that is more in line with the way that you think. And let's see how far and how long you will last. Stand up. Be an American. In your heart and in your mind right now, say the Pledge of Allegiance. If you can say it in full, you'll feel much better. Because I know that we have been down. We have been beaten by this nonsense of negativity about our country. It's the wrong road to take. There's a much better road where we build up each other, we protect each other, we love each other, we support each other. We're there if you need help. We pray for you when you need that prayer. And we provide you food when you need food to eat. I remember one time, and I've repeated this once before, I was in Hong Kong. And in Hong Kong, in the dresser drawers right next to the bed, when you open up the drawer, instead of the Book of Gideon being there, they have the Book of Buddha. And so I said, I've never read the Book of Buddha, so I pulled it out. And I said, okay, I'll open it up to like the middle of the book. And I opened it up. And the words hit me, and I've always remembered it every single day. And I always tried to apply it to my life. And it said this: a friend is someone who is there for you at all times, will give you the best advice, will scorn you when you've done wrong, will give you food when you need to eat, will give you a place to stay if you need a home, will always be honest with you, will always keep your secrets. But then Buddha said this: it's very difficult to find a friend like that, so you're going to have to be a friend like that. Change the word friend to being American. A good American is going to take care of their own. They are going to give their good American friends advice. They are going to take care of them when they need to eat. Put housing in front of them when they need a place to sleep. Will keep their secrets. A good American will do that. And that's where we need to become, because we have become so individualistic and so selfish and so self-centered that we have forgotten what being American is really all about. Taking care of each other. Taking care of our fellow Americans. Supporting our rule of law. Supporting our Constitution. Supporting and defending our freedoms. That's what America is all about. Think about it. Say your Pledge of Allegiance. This is Mike Lodge. Listen, if you have any questions or concerns, send me a text. 818-252-5682. Again, that's 818-252-5682. I'll talk with you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
This podcast has been produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused